Welcome back, boys and girls. Today we are going to be working on equivalent fractions and decimals. So we know that equivalent fractions name the same amount of shaded pieces. Well, equivalent decimals are the same thing, talking about equal decimals. They are the same amount of pieces, same amount of it's just the same amount. It's equal. So let's take a look. Okay, it says Daniel spent a day hiking through a wildlife preserve. During the first hour of the hike, he drank 6/10 liter of water. How many hundredths of a liter did he drink? I just did what we had to do. Underline what we need to find. So we want to find out how many hundredths of the liter did he drink, and how can we represent hundredths? So we can represent hundredths as either a fraction or a decimal. So we know that he drank 6/10 of a liter. So I'm going to shade in here. One way we could do this is shading a model. So I'm going to shade in 6 pieces out of the 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be up to 6. So let's do that. Okay, so I've shaded now 6/10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces out of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 6/10, 6 pieces out of the 10. Now I'm going to do an equivalent fraction that is equal to 6/10. So I'm going to shade the same amount of pieces over here. Now, yesterday or Monday, I talked to you about how instead of sitting here counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can just think, okay, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whoa, geez, and 60 up to there. So it's going to be the same amount shaded. Don't worry about that side over there. That was an accident. But so we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then if we kept going, it would be like 70, 80, 90, 100. And that's our hundredth piece, right? So we've shaded 60 pieces out of the 100, which is equal to 6 pieces out of 10, right? Because now here's what we are thinking, right? We are multiplying, it's going 10 times more. And that's how we record it over here. 6/10, okay, times it by 10. And whenever we do the bottom, we do the top, right? So 6 times 10 is 60. And 100 times 10, 10 times 10 is 100. Remember when we talked about place value charts that, 100 is 10 times more than 10, and 60 is 10 times more than 6, right? So we're just multiplying by 10 to get remember when we multiply, we get a larger number. So 6/10 is the same as 60 hundredths, and you can think about it by just multiplying by 10 times higher. Let's take a look at another way we could do this. Another way you could think about it is using a place value chart. So if I write 6/10 as a decimal, okay, it's the same as saying 6/10 and 0 hundredths, right? So we have no whole numbers, our decimal point, and 6/10, okay? It's the same as if I'm saying that there were 0 hundredths. So 6/10 is equivalent to 60 hundredths. So he drank either 6/10 of his water or 60 hundredths of his water. Well, and that's as our fraction. And then as our decimal, 0 and 60 hundredths. 60 hundredths or 6/10. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So it says Jasmine collected 30 hundredths liter. Now that's how you would say it, 30 hundredths liter of water in a jar during a rainstorm. How many tenths of the liter did she collect? So they already gave us the hundredths. Okay, we want to find an equivalent decimal to tenths. Okay, so equivalent decimals are decimals that name the same amount, just like we talked with equivalent fractions. You can write 30 hundredths as a decimal that names tenths. So looking at our place value chart, okay, we have 30 hundredths. So we had 0 ones and then 30 hundredths. Since there are 0 hundredths, we can think about just looking at our tenths. Whoops, I tried to circle that a little bit better. And you can see here that it's the same as 3 tenths. Oh, I should have wrote just 3. Hold on, let me erase that. Just 3 tenths. They didn't want the decimal yet. Okay, so you can see that there are 3 tenths there, right? Okay, so then writing 30 hundredths would be the, as tenths would just be 3 tenths. And you can think 3 times 10 is that 30, where we got the 30. Okay, another way we can do it is writing 30 hundredths as a fraction with a denominator of 10. So when we look here, we have 30 hundredths is 30 hundredths, right? And 30 hundredths written as a fraction would be 30 over 100. Okay, so now we can write 30 hundredths as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10. So instead of multiplying to get a higher number, we would divide to get a smaller number. And we're going to divide it by 10. Right? Because 100 divided by 10 will get us our 10. Whatever we do to the bottom, we're doing to the top. 30 divided by 10 is 3. So Jasmine collected either 3 tenths as the fraction or 3 tenths as a decimal. 3 tenths as a decimal. Let's try a few more. Okay, let's try another one. So I just sat and drew these out. You can pause this right now and draw these out with me. I would really like you to, actually. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The boxes are not really equal for me. Obviously, if you had it in a book or if you're going to do your slideshow, they will be equal. But, just draw it out now as quickly as best you can, okay? So if I had, let's say, I was going to say, like, let's find, I don't know, 3 tenths, what it would be equivalent to. So 3 tenths, I would shade in 1, 2, 3 pieces, right? So 3 tenths. And then for hundredths, I want to shade the exact same amount. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I would sit there and continue. Or you could just think 10, 20, 30, right? So 31 hundredths is the same as saying 3 tenths. And the way you would write that out would be 30 hundredths and 3 tenths. Okay? Because you don't really have any hundredths here, so you don't need to worry about it. It's the same exact thing, right? You have 3 tenths and 30 hundredths. So same thing for that. Okay? Let's try one more. Okay, last one. So I just redrew it. So again, I paused the video myself to sit here and draw it. You should do the same. So we have tenths and we have hundredths, and we want to find an equivalent fraction in hundredths for 6 tenths. Now, you could use a model, or like we said before, 6 tenths. And we want to find something that's equivalent to hundredths. And we could think times 10 for both. 10 times 10 is 100. 6 times 10 is 60. So you could draw it out and it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Did we do this one? Oh, we did. Let me change it to 70. Either way, you're still doing the same kind of work. So if I did 7/10, then I would still multiply it by 10 times 10 is 100, and 7 times 10 is 70. So this time I would shade it a little bit more. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces shaded out of 10. And we would shade 70 pieces out of the 100 here. 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Now, if we had, let's just say, what if we had 50 hundredths and we wanted to find tenths? Instead of multiplying to get that higher number, we would divide by 10 to get that smaller number. So 50 divided by 10 is 5. Okay? Think you guys are good? Go head over to your assignment. It is a slideshow working with equivalent decimals. See you later.